What if I told you there's a business where the main employees don't get a paycheck? Where, in fact, they pay the company for the privilege of showing up to work? Where a single room in the back can generate more revenue in an hour than the entire restaurant floor does in a night? And where the whole thing is protected by a moat so deep that competitors literally can't open across the street, even if they want to? I'm talking about the strip club. And whatever you think about them morally, the economics are genuinely fascinating. A weird, cash-soaked, legally radioactive little corner of American capitalism that runs on incentives most business owners would kill for. So today, we're going to break down how a gentleman's club actually makes money, where the cash comes from, where it goes, why it's so hard to open one, and why the entire industry is sitting on a legal time bomb that has already cost some owners tens of millions of dollars. Let's get into it. First, let's size this thing up. Depending on who you ask, the US strip club industry pulls in somewhere between $2.5 and $6 billion a year, spread across roughly 3,500 to 4,000 licensed clubs. And the range in those clubs is enormous. Your average small-town local club might do around $470,000 in revenue a year. Decent, but nothing that's buying anybody a yacht. Meanwhile, an upscale club in a place like Las Vegas or Miami can do $50 million or more annually. The biggest one in the world, Tootsie's Cabaret in Miami, is a 74,000 square foot megaplex. That's bigger than a football field of adult entertainment. So when we talk about a strip club, understand we're talking about everything from a dive bar with a pole to an operation the size of a Costco. Now, where does the money actually come from? Because most people assume it's all just cash raining down on the stage. And here's the first surprise. Almost none of that money touches the business. The tips the dancers collect? That's the dancer's income, and the vast majority of it never flows through to the club itself. If you counted all of it, some people estimate the industry is more like a $15 billion thing. But the club's books don't see most of that. The club makes its money somewhere else entirely. There are basically three big revenue streams, and we actually have hard numbers for this because, and this is wild, there's a publicly traded strip club company. It's called RCI Hospitality, ticker symbol RIC on the NASDAQ, and because it files with the SEC, we get to peek inside the machine. According to their financials, their nightclub revenue breaks down roughly like this. Alcohol is about 43%. Service fees, that's private dances, VIP rooms, the champagne room, is about 40%. And food, merchandise, and everything else is around 16%. So let's talk about alcohol, because that's the beating heart of the whole operation, and it comes down to a magic phrase: pour cost. Pour cost is what the liquid in your drink actually costs the bar as a percentage of what they charge you. The industry average runs around 21%. For hard liquor, it can be as low as 17%. Think about what that means. When you buy a $12 cocktail, the actual booze in that glass costs the club maybe $2. The other 10? That's gross margin. RCI reportedly runs gross margins in the 85% range on its clubs. That is a fantastic business. For comparison, a normal sit-down restaurant is fighting and clawing for a 3 to 5% profit margin. A well-run club can clear 30% or more. The drinks are the engine, but the real money, the stuff that makes the strip club a strip club and not just an expensive bar, is that middle category, the service fees, the private dances, and the VIP rooms. This is where the club's pricing power really shows up, because a lap dance might be $20 or $30, and the club takes a cut of every single one. A VIP or champagne room isn't sold by the dance, it's sold by the minimum. You want the private booth? That's a minimum spend, often bottle service on top, and the meter is running. A mid-sized club can pull $15,000 to $20,000 in revenue on a good Saturday night, and a big metro club can clear $60,000+ in profit in a single night. Not revenue, profit in one night. And then there are the little hidden streams that most people never think about. Cover charges at the door, $10 to $25 a head, which often just goes to pay the DJ. Merchandise. And my personal favorite, the one that tells you everything about this business, ATM fees. Strip clubs are overwhelmingly cash operations, and cash only creates a problem. Customers run out of cash. So the club sticks an ATM by the door, charges you a fat withdrawal fee, and then you take that cash and spend it right back inside the building. The club makes money on you taking money out to give the money back to them. It's a beautiful, closed little loop. Okay, so the drinks are high margin. The VIP rooms print money. The ATM skims a little off the top. But here is the single most important thing to understand about strip club economics, and it's the part that makes the whole model so strange. The labor is not just cheap. In many clubs, the labor is a revenue source. Here's how it traditionally works. The dancers are almost never classified as employees. They're classified as independent contractors, which means the club doesn't pay them a wage. Zero. Their entire income is tips from customers. But it goes further than that, because the dancers don't just work for free, they pay the club to be there. It's called a house fee, or a stage fee. A dancer might have to pay $40, or on a busy Friday night, $80 or more, just to be allowed on the floor that shift. And the fee is often higher during the prime, most profitable hours, because the club knows those are the shifts where dancers can actually make money. And the house fee is just the beginning. At the end of the night, the dancer typically has to tip out. She pays a cut to the DJ, to the bartenders, to the security guys, and to the house mom, who's the person backstage managing the dressing room. In some clubs, she also owes the house a few dollars for every regular dance and even more for every VIP dance she performs. There are documented cases of clubs charging a penalty, $150, if a dancer tries to leave her shift early. Add it all up and you get the truly surreal outcome that's been described in multiple lawsuits. A dancer can finish an entire shift, having worked all night, and actually owe the club money. She goes home in the red. Now, from a pure, cold economic standpoint, and I want to be clear, I'm describing the logic, not endorsing it, this is a genuinely clever incentive structure. If you start your shift already down 40 or 80 bucks, you are extremely motivated to hustle. You are not going to stand in the corner. That built-in deficit is a productivity engine. The club has essentially outsourced its entire sales force, put them on straight commission, charged them rent for their own workstation, and made them absorb all the risk of a slow night. If it's dead on a Tuesday, the club still collected its house fees. The dancers ate the loss. It's one of the most efficient labor cost shifting arrangements you will find in any legal industry. Which brings us to the time bomb. Because that whole model, the free labor, the house fees, the tip outs, rests on one legal assumption, that these dancers are truly independent contractors and not employees. And over the last decade, courts across the country have been looking at that assumption and going, yeah, no. See, the law has a test for this. It's basically about control. Does the business control how, when, and where you work? Does it set your hours, set your prices, dictate the terms? Because if the club tells you which shifts to work, sets the price of a dance, controls the music, and runs the whole environment, that sure sounds like an employer telling an employee what to do. And if the dancers are employees, then everything changes. It becomes illegal to charge them house fees. The club has to pay minimum wage, plus overtime. The dancers get to keep their tips. And so the lawsuits came in a wave. Between 2006 and 2019, dancers filed over 400 wage and hour complaints in federal court. And they've been winning. Rick's Cabaret in New York got hit with a class action from over 2,000 dancers and paid out $10.9 million. Spearmint Rhino in California settled for $13 million. The Penthouse Executive Club, $8 million. Scarlett's Cabaret, $6 million. A club in Atlanta, Onyx, $1.55 million. A club in Key West that didn't even keep records of the hours its dancers worked settled for up to $2 million. Over and over, the same story. You called them contractors to avoid paying them, and the court said they were employees all along. This is the central tension of the entire industry. The independent contractor model is what makes strip clubs so absurdly profitable, free or negative cost labor. But that same model is a massive, ongoing legal liability that can detonate at any moment and wipe out years of profit in a single settlement. Some clubs have responded by actually putting dancers on payroll, and then, in a very predictable move, cutting their pay, raising fees elsewhere, or taking a bigger cut of dances to claw the cost back. It's a constant tug of war between the business model and the law. So if this business is so profitable, why isn't there a strip club on every corner like there's a Starbucks? And the answer is the best part of the whole story: the moat. The barriers to entry here are enormous, and they are almost entirely created by the government. Start with zoning. Strip clubs are what regulators call sexually oriented businesses, and cities regulate the daylights out of where they can physically exist. Common rules require the club to be a certain distance, sometimes over 1,000 feet, from any school, church, park, or residential area. Some cities add dispersion, rules that stop adult businesses from clustering together. So before you've spent $1, the map of legal locations in any given city has been shrunk down to a tiny handful of parcels, usually in some industrial armpit by the highway. Then there's licensing. You need an adult entertainment license, and cities rarely, if ever, issue new ones. The existing clubs got grandfathered in years or decades ago, and the city has zero interest in approving more. So the licenses themselves become scarce, valuable, protected assets. Then layer on the alcohol problem, which is genuinely fascinating. In most of the country, there's an inverse relationship between nudity and booze. If you want to serve alcohol, and remember, alcohol is your highest margin product, you usually have to restrict the nudity. Pasties, a G-string, no full nudity. If you want to go fully nude, you often have to give up the liquor license entirely and operate as a dry juice bar. So owners are constantly trading off their most profitable product against their main attraction. In Vegas, for instance, topless clubs can serve alcohol, but fully nude clubs cannot. And then, the final nail: financing. Because of the industry stigma, the Small Business Administration won't back loans for adult businesses. A lot of traditional banks won't touch them either. So you can't just walk in with a business plan and get a normal small business loan the way you could for a taco shop. Now add all of that up: restrictive zoning, frozen licensing, the alcohol trade-off, no easy financing. And you get something remarkable. You get a local monopoly. If you already own the club with the license in the good location, no one can open across the street and undercut you. Your customers aren't especially price sensitive. They're out having a good time. They're not squinting at whether the beer is $1 more than the bar down the road. The government has, in effect, handed existing club owners a protected, defensible, high-margin cash business. It's the kind of moat that investors dream about, which is exactly why RCI Hospitality exists as a public company, and it's a genuinely great story to end on. The CEO, Eric Langan, reportedly bought his first club in Texas at age 21 using $40,000 he got from selling his baseball card collection. From that, he built a company that now owns more than 55 clubs across the country. And their strategy is pure cold capital allocation. They treat the fragmented strip club industry like a game of Monopoly, buying up local clubs one at a time, keeping the local brand names intact because customers already recognize them, and often buying the real estate underneath the clubs too, so they own the dirt as well as the business. But, and this is the perfect capstone to a cash-heavy, lightly regulated industry, in September 2025, the New York Attorney General indicted 5 RCI executives in an alleged bribery scheme. The claim is that the company compete a state tax auditor with travel and free services at its clubs, and in exchange, that auditor gave the company favorable treatment on sales tax audits, allegedly saving the company around $8 million. Which tells you something. When your entire business runs on cash, the temptation to make the tax problem go away is always right there. So that's the economics of the strip club. A business built on 85% margin liquor, VIP rooms that print money, a labor force that pays to work, a legal foundation that's constantly being challenged in court, and a government-built moat that turns the whole thing into a protected local monopoly. Whatever your feelings about the industry, you have to admit, as a machine for turning a cash-heavy night into profit, it is ruthlessly, fascinatingly well-designed. If you found this video valuable, leave a like, subscribe, and comment below which business you want me to cover next.